Welcome, everybody. My name is Carrie, and I'm your host today. Thank you so much for joining us for this second Lunch and Learn with a focus on refugees in the Puget Sound area. We're in webinar mode, so most of you know how this works by now, but if not, that's okay. Down at the bottom, you will see a couple of features. You'll see a chat function. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves as you like. In there, you can give a shout out, a woohoo, a good job. That's what we would love chat to be used for. And then if you have any questions, the question and answer function is open. It is next to that chat function, and you can insert any questions that you have that come up as our panelists are talking today. Then at the end of our time today, we'll go through some of those questions and get through as many as we can, as quickly as we can, to make sure that we get some of those burning questions that you have answered. We have amazing panelists today. I had to take a deep breath because I get a little excited. I've had the pleasure of working with all of these individuals for many months now, and I am thrilled to be able to be on the same screen with them. First, we have Daryl. He was at our first Lunch and Learn last week, so he may look familiar to you, but he has different information this week. So welcome. You're not getting anything repeated. He is the Director of Refugee Resettlement here at LCS-NW. Dina, she's our Refugee Resettlement Program Supervisor. We've got Abdul. He's our Client Services and Case Manager Lead. We've got Aziz, who's a Client Services and Case Manager. And we've got Teddy, who's with the Church of Latter-day Saints and is an amazing community partner for us here at LCS-NW. Behind the scenes, we have Jamie, who's our Chief Advancement Officer and a woman with many skills because she's running all of our tech. We're so thankful to have her helping to push the buttons. Now, we're going to get started. First, we're going to head to Daryl. We're excited to hear about some of the specifics and details around numbers, nationalities, some of the things that are happening on the ground, specifically here in the Puget Sound from Daryl. Daryl, welcome.
Thank you, Carrie. As Carrie said, my name is Daryl Morrissey. I'm the Director for Refugee Resettlement for Lutheran Community Services Northwest. And we have resettlement offices in Portland, Vancouver, and Tacoma. But I'm based in the Tacoma office, and I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our work helping refugees resettle and begin new lives in the Pacific Northwest, to share that with you. Now, in the United States, the acceptance of refugees, people who have been forced to leave their home countries and begin lives in a new place, has been a long-standing hallmark of what America stands for as a country, as we can see in this quote from our first president. The bosom of America is not open to receive only the opulent and respectable stranger, but the oppressed and persecuted of all nations and religions. And that's from George Washington himself. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, sorry about that, just had a phone call. All right. Okay, sorry. So please click one time, Jamie. All right, so our office has resettled. Okay, excuse me, I just need to take this for a moment.
Something that is special and unique about Daryl is he has moved cross country to start working with us here. So to be honest, it's probably a family phone call calling to check in. Different time zones.
It is. Hang on just a moment, please.
We know and accept.
Okay.
Something that has been amazing, which as you can see in this slide here, is our airport pickups as arrivals.
No, I'm in a meeting right now, so I'll call you right back, okay? Okay, that's completely fine by me. All right. Okay. I have a fantastic son. So sorry about that. Okay, so on this one, so our office here in Tacoma and in the greater Puget Sound area, over the past 12 months, we have resettled 510 refugees. And next click, please. They have come from a variety of countries, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Ethiopia, Moldova, Myanmar, Sudan, and Somalia. But most of them, next click, have come from Afghanistan. 446 Afghans have been resettled in our greater Puget Sound area over the past year by our office. And the next highest number is Ukrainians. Next click, please. So we've resettled 45 Ukrainians. We're going to talk a little bit about that program. Okay, next slide, please. So our main office is in Tacoma, but our office has resettled refugee clients all the way from Olympia up to Bellingham over the past few years. Please click. There it is. That's the region we've resettled people over, and it is a huge area to cover. So to better serve clients in the North Puget Sound area, we have a satellite office based in Everett. Okay, next 2 clicks. So there we are. Oh, it's hard to see there, but there we are in Tacoma, and we also have a satellite office in Everett. And LCS-NW also has offices in Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon. Next click, please. So down there at the bottom of the picture, I don't know if you can see those stars there. But we're going to feature those in future webinars. Today, we're going to talk about our work in the greater Puget Sound area. Next slide, please. I shared this on the webinar last week, but these are just the basic services that we provide to clients over the first 90 days after they arrive in our area. So when a refugee family resettles here, they're in need of just about everything to help them get started in their new home community. And LCS-NW provides a wide variety of services, including airport reception, support to secure safe and affordable housing and ethnically appropriate food, employment services, including job training and job search skills. We refer them to job trainers, school enrollment for their children, cultural orientation classes, providing the skills and knowledge that they need to survive and make a life here, assistance in connecting to public benefits and health services until they can secure employment and begin providing for their own needs, English language classes, and behavioral health services to help them negotiate the process of successfully integrating into their new society here. Okay, next slide, please. So LCS-NW has already been receiving refugee clients from Ukraine for a number of years. All right, click please. Under a special resettlement program for persecuted religious minorities, which is called the Lautenberg program. So we have a history of providing resettlement services to people from Ukraine. Next click. But for the people who are currently leaving Ukraine due to the war, it will be a different process than the one that we've been working with previously. And this depends on a number of factors. The United Nations, or UNHCR, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, has identified 3 what they call durable solutions for refugees anywhere in the world, 3 ways to help them move on with their lives. Next click. The first one is repatriation. Right? It's to help them go back to their home country when it is safe to do so. The second one, next one, is called integration. And that's usually they flee to a country that is next to or very close to their home country. So if they cannot return home, the next best solution is for them to start life again in a country that's near their home, because presumably the language and the culture are at least somewhat similar to where they are from. And the next click. But the program we are working in is what's called the third durable solution, and that's refugee resettlement. And refugee resettlement takes time. It depends on the international situation, the desires of the refugees, and the policy of our own government. It takes time for the government to set up the infrastructure that allows for the required security and medical checks, cultural orientation and exit visas, and other services needed for the successful implementation of a complete refugee resettlement program. So it's difficult to predict right now what will happen with the people who are currently leaving Ukraine, but it will likely be a year or more before arrival of Ukrainian refugees under the regular US refugee admissions program. And back to you, Carrie.
Thank you so much for that, Daryl. It has been a hard process of us sitting and waiting to see if we were going to get an influx of people as we're resettling refugees from Afghanistan, to see what was happening with Ukraine. So for us, that information is helpful to know how long it's going to take, when people might be arriving. And as you'll hear from our upcoming panelists as well, Afghanistan was a very unique situation. We had not experienced something like that before. So thank you so much for that information, Daryl. I am excited to welcome our next panelist. But before that, I have to get a little bit of praise. Our next two panelists, Dina and Abdul, have been working with LCS&W for a pretty good period of time. They were working with us before this refugee crisis occurred and have stayed with us throughout this extremely high stress period of time. Their commitment to our community and to these individuals who are arriving to resettle in our area to become neighbors has been absolutely humbling and inspiring. And I am absolutely honored to get to work with them. And I'm so thankful that we get to hear from them today. Dina is going to talk more about what's been happening on the ground as she's brought together and built a team from bare bones to flourishing, how she's been able to keep some of those folks together and resilient during this very intense and stressful time, and some of the current barriers and successes that she and her team are experiencing currently. Dina, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Kari. Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Dina Brigdic, and originally I arrived in USA from Belarus as a refugee as well, and I know very well the life of refugee, and yeah, I'm working as a program supervisor only for last 4 months. Mostly I was working as a case manager, and starting from September 2021, we had team, but not very big, like you see in the picture, and actually some of them already resigned and some of them was from Portland. Next click. Yeah, we had couple case managers. Tamara, she was working with us for years, and now she promoted to be client service support specialist. And we have Abdul Ahmadi, our experienced case manager lead. He's working with us 5 years. Next click. Yeah, also we had Alina Kraisak. She's case manager and affidavit of relations specialist. Especially she would be doing Ukrainian family reunification application now. And we have Gulam Rubani, our case manager. Next click. Also, we have Nandini Rao. She's immigration attorney and program manager in Seattle office. And she's really hard worker, super busy. And Nandini was training myself and Tamara to become an accredited representative in immigration counseling for Tacoma team affiliate. But since it was really busy, hard period of time, it's a little bit pending for now. Next click. Also, we had volunteer coordinator Sheridan Murray, very hard worker, and Nikira Parker, office administrator. They are so great workers. Next click. And yeah, myself, program supervisor. And I was working from October until February and performing role of interim program manager until we hired the new resettlement director, Daryl. with us starting from February. Next, click. And during these 4 last months, we hired new case managers as a Faiz and Aziz. Faiz working as a case manager, Aziz as well, and Aziz is in charge of in-kind donation. Next, click. We hired also Sana and Hamid, their Afghan case managers, and we hired Nikolai Teryohin, who is co-sponsorship coordinator, or we call this Circle of Welcome team coordinator. Next. We hired as well couple case manager for Snohomish area, one of them Yelena Dayonka, Ukrainian Russian speaking, for extended case management for the client who we are serving for after 90 days, and Lena Voloshenyuk for Afghan population as well, even she speaks Ukrainian and Russian, but she's very good. And also we hired Anna Khumenyuk, intensive case manager for preferred community. She is working with medical cases. Next, click. And we hired new housing workers. Their work was super hard, and they did it. And we have only 4 cases, 15 clients who staying in temporary housing, but all of them now found permanent housing. Next, click. And our new drivers, Mohammed and Hashmatullah, their work is super hard as well. Yeah, but they can do it. Next, click. And of course, our new resettlement director, very experienced Daryl Morrissey. He had 7 years as LIR's Refugee Cultural Orientation Program Manager, International Organization for Migration for Cultural Orientation and Disaster Management Training, Resettlement and for Information Complaint Coordinator from IOM, Cultural Orientation Curriculum Developer and Trainer IOM, Thailand and Jordan. Next. Of course, we had the challenges, but honestly, we really like challenges because we could do it. And the biggest challenges we had, a very difficult challenges, is when US ties rejected clients last minute before their landing in Sitak airport. Like they agreed to support them, and last minute they rejected them. And then our case managers, housing workers, tried to solve it as soon as possible by providing airport pickup, temporary housing, and ready-to-eat meal food delivery. Also, the biggest challenge is the large of APA arrivals, 388 within 4 months, and not enough affordable housing or hard to receive an approval. For example, if the client doesn't have an employment authorization and social security card, of course, they cannot find the job, no credit history. Not enough money from VALAC, and agency cannot provide income letter or promissory notes to support up to 6 months. That's why it's really challenging to find affordable housing. Next. Also, we had another, maybe not big challenge, but it was challenge to provide cell phone for the clients on time. Case managers had to call to clients' roommate to communicate. Or, for example, if the agency worker had to buy some cell phones from Walmart store, at least for 5 clients at once, but Walmart can sell only 2 cell phones per one purchase. It was really hard actually. To provide transportation for the grocery purchases or even medical transportation for the Pierce County. To assist with DSHS call to start an interview. To assist with Social Security Administration calls to schedule an appointment for the clients due to the very long waiting line during the call. Next. And you can see these challenges. For example, our case managers, they shared with us their screenshot, how long they spend time with DSHS. For example, you can see 8 hours waiting long time, or Social Security, almost 6 hours. Another DSHS in Renton, 6.5 hours on the waiting line. Next. However, we had very successful stories. For example, we had 2 Circle of Welcome teams or co-sponsor teams, and they support our clients, family of 7 and family of 10. You can see them here in the pictures. It was medical case with pregnant wife, and now you see this beautiful baby. Also, our volunteer coordinators, they recruited lots of hosting families, and they provided host family for the clients starting from 1 month to 3 months. Also, these volunteers provided the transportation for the clients, donation of gift card for buying food, and as well community support for providing the beds, bedding, some supply, wheelchairs. Next. Our goals and hopes. As any agency, any person, and we have a goals and we have a hopes for our clients to find more affordable housing program or support for the clients, to renew our food grant from Bishop, the Latter-day Saints Church, to renew the Desert Industry grant for the furniture, to receive more Circle of Welcome team or co-sponsor teams, to create job search employment opportunity for our clients. There is APA, but we call this Afghan clients. And to find accessible, affordable legal services for our clients. And as a conclusion, we are open for new partnership, for new ideas, for the agency and clients, for new opportunity for team growing and serving the refugee from any country. Next one. And you can ask your question and you can see this picture, how busy we are.
It's true, and they are always busy. Dina and I go way back with late night G-chat chat sessions of just, are you okay? Are we okay? We're going to be okay. We can get through this together, because it's been hard. I mean, one of the things that I want to call a little bit of attention to is there are only 15 clients that are in some sort of temporary housing currently, and that's out of 446 in about 4 or 5 months. The enormity of that number of human beings and getting them into houses with furniture and with food, and again, going through 8 hours of waiting on a phone for one system to get them set up for benefits is a huge undertaking, not only of resources of LCS&W and time, but also a place where you might be like, oh, hey, I could maybe help with some of those phone calls. So keep in mind some of the ways that you might be able to come alongside and help with some of these barriers that we're experiencing every day with our clients, and some of these systems that are really challenging right now, not just for ourselves, but for the clients and for these systems that we're working within. We've heard that the health department is also struggling because they're being inundated as well. They have all of these refugees who are coming in and needing services too. So Dina, thank you so much for sharing that, for introducing us to the team. I know a number of the people on the call saw some familiar names and faces, and then got to meet some of our new faces as well, and the ones who are working more on the client side, which is beautiful. Next up, we're going to hear from Abdul and hear what is going on with his team, what he's seeing from clients, and again, talk more about some of these challenges, because they are real, they are true, and we need to hear about those, and then some of the successes, because I know they've been pretty amazing.
Hello, thank you everybody, and thank you, Carrie. Yes, of course. My name is Abdul Ahmadi. I'm case manager lead with Lutheran Community Service Northwest. I came to United States on December 8, 2015 with my family of 7. And I work with Youth Army as a translator for 11 years, and from 2004 to 2015, and then I came to December. So I was one of the clients of Lutheran Community Service. So I got good support from Lutheran Community Services, and then I thought that I can assist some of the clients, because I was a translator, and I got my driving license very quick. I was successful at the first 2 months, and so my success for a start, the first 2 months, and then I start volunteer. I was volunteer for 3 months with the Lutheran Community Service. Besides, I was client and I was volunteer to help clients with translation and transportation in Kent area. And I start work with Lutheran Community Service on March 2016 as a driver, and work as a driver, but then position changed to the case manager, prime case manager, and case manager lead. During this time, of course, we see a lot of challenging and success. We resettle more than thousands of clients from all over the world, and I like this job. So when I see the conclusion and see the families get success and the kids go to school and they get jobs, and that is the point that I feel really happy that see them, they get success. And so recently, as I mentioned, that usually it is challenging with refugees all the time with the families, new arrival. But recently, with after August 15, with what happened in that crisis in Afghanistan happened, and these all families came to thousands of people came to United States to the military bases, and then resettled to come to different states. And we were also, as Dina mentioned, that we in 4 months we resettled 388 clients, which is a lot. And the challenging that we had, we were not prepared for that much clients. We have a few case manager, and then our resettlement hire new case manager and the new housing coordinator. We did not have resettlement director. So our resettlement, we did not have a resettlement director. So it was a little bit challenging. In one hand, we have to do service for clients. On the other hand, we have to train the new case manager, because case manager is need to learn more to do base services. So in one hand, we did training for the new case managers. On the other hand, I have my only about 60 clients myself to help them resettle. And the cases were everywhere. So 2 of my families were in Olympia, without family, without any, they have used tie, but they just meet each other in the military base, and then they support, but not that much. They were not that much supportive. So we have to take care of a family of 7 in Olympia, as we see that the slide showed that family in Olympia, and the other family of 5. So although it was far distance, but we could help these families, and very successful. We random house. At first they were stay with the youth, means the host family for 2 months. Then they moved to their house and they got job, the kids go to school. And the conclusion of everything that we got, although the housing was challenging, we resettled and move all our clients to their apartments or their houses. And they are very happy, and I'm very, when I'm seeing they are getting day by day better and get jobs and go to their success, and I get very happy. And the last challenge, the other challenge that we really had, we ran out of the beds and sofa furniture the last 3 months, and it was a big challenge. Besides, there was housing challenging, and we ran out of the beds and most starter kits and sofa. And thank Aziz that he worked very hard to find donation, and we cover. And also I want to say thank you very much from so the person that I know, Shelly and Katie from the Christ of Jesus, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint, if I don't make pronounce good, and Federal Way, they help us with beds and starter kits and sofa, almost about 30 families in Federal Way and Kent area, which is part of their region. So we got a lot of good support from them and for other volunteers that help us. And so I'm very happy with all that challenging that we are successful. Our clients are happy, and I want to thank you for our case manager or all the team that they work very hard and we get rid of that challenging.
Abdul, thank you so much for walking us through. It's been a crazy 6 months. I mean, we just really got inundated quickly, and being able to pivot and adjust. And you've been with us steady this whole way, helping to guide and make sure that clients are taken care of. One of those families in Olympia was actually hosted with one of my friends. And so I know how much Abdul has been by client side, guiding them through different processes. And again, those systems we talked about a little bit with Dina, some of those systems and getting them into housing and employment are so tricky. So thank you for sharing that, Abdul. Deeply appreciate the work.
Yes, thank you.
Next up, we're going to talk to Aziz, who is also a partner of mine in late night G chats. Of what else do you need? How else can we help? Anything else? What do you need now, Aziz? I have been deeply thankful for his friendship and partnership in getting these clients taken care of. So I'm excited today to hear from Aziz how things are going for him, different needs that we currently have, and just get a bit of an update. Aziz, welcome.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Really appreciate for your support all the time and for every individuals who support us in the Tacoma. So I'm Aziz Ahmad, and I have been working with the Lutheran Community Services Northwest since November 2021. Started as a case manager. If I go back a little bit, so I came to the United States as a refugee from Afghanistan in November 2018. I was actually one of the client for the Lutheran Community Services. I was taken care of very well, and I was resettled very well. I know the pain and also the desires that the refugees right now have in the United States when they come. So anyway, I started as a volunteer for 2 years with the Lutheran Community Services, doing the cultural orientation for 2 years, and then started as a case manager. And then they put me in a new position and gave me the new responsibility as an in-kind donation coordinator. So as the main purpose of the Lutheran Community Services is health, justice, and hope. These three has to be applied for the refugees. When I came, the first thing has to be should be taken care of the safety of the families. This is the first thing that we have to focus on, the safety, whether it is health, physical safety, whatsoever. When I started this, the donations, I was able to contact 70 families, donors, whether it was churches, whether it was organizations or individuals. So 70 donors I was contacted with. All of those 70s, most of them, the donations we did receive. And also we supplied 50 families, more than 50 families. It means more than 400 individuals that we provided core of service and furnitures, beds, starter kits, whatsoever. We did have a lot of challenges. When I started this job, we had no beds. We didn't have any stocks, zero. And I was in a position that how can I provide everything with very little fund, with no furnitures, nothing. So thank you all those who donated us, and thank you for every individuals that they connected me with the donors to get people supplied with what they are supposed to get. Corey was thank you so much that you connected me with the donors, and also the Amazon wish list. We did receive a lot of those ones. But the most needed thing that today we have is the beds, mattresses, and beddings. This is the very basic, the first need for us and for our clients. For the first couple of weeks, our clients were sleeping on the floor. And imagine the family sleeping on the floor, and we say that the first the top priority for our refugee families or safety. So that was the biggest challenge we had, and fortunately we were able to, with the support and help of the donors and the kind heart of the donors and the people who tirelessly worked connecting every individuals with the donors. So that was great. We got a lot of donations for the families. Now we have no family sleeping on the floor right now, but still we do need beds for them. Some of the families, they are sleeping on the mattresses, but we were not able to get more beds. But anyway, it's amazing that you see when you ask for help from people in community, you see a lot of people showing their helping hands, and this is amazing. I was amazed when I asked one person, and then that person is connecting us with the community, and the community is just responding. How can we help the refugees? How can we provide means of living for the families? This is amazing. Lutheran Community Services with the Lethal Fund would not be able to do that if we would not connect to the community. Connecting to the community is amazing. It is really helpful. But anyway, for our future, we do need beds, mattresses, and beddings and furnitures. We do need a lot of furnitures for these 400 couple families, that individuals that they are already moved to their permanent housings. We provided a little bit furnitures for them, but some of them still need. And also the starter kits for hygiene, personal care, and baby kits. So those hygiene kits, that is the other need we are facing right now. So we need those stuff. Who knew that one day Zoom will lead the education system in the whole world? Thanks God that right now we are getting back in person. But again, Zoom is now integrated with the living of every individual. So Chromebook is the other need for the families in order to do their job search, education for the family. We see a lot of enthusiasm from the families that they want to learn, they want to study, and they don't have the means of a study. They go to college and they come back home and they have nothing to study from. So the Chromebook is the other need. I request if we could get connected and get some Chromebooks. And also phones. The family, when they come to their US Thai family or their sponsored family. For some days, they stay with their sponsored or families or the host family. The host family, they have their job to do. They leave during the day, or there's US Thais. So the rest of the day, the case managers were supposed to get connected with their clients. They don't have the communication. So the other thing is very important for the case managers to be communicating with their clients. So phone is another need for us. And those are all the need we right now have. Please, thank you so much for your support, and really appreciate that you guys are helping us a lot, and our clients are very happy. So we actually bring smiles on the faces of the people that they come from war-torn countries. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aziz. It has been amazing being able to put out an ask to this community. The ones on this Zoom, the ones that are on social media, the ones that are checking our website, really just everywhere, and see the outpouring of support that we have in our community after such a period of time of feeling a lot of divisiveness and also being alone. I mean, throughout a lot of the pandemic, it felt very lonely, and being able to have these moments where the community is coming together to rally around people we don't even know. It's absolutely beautiful. So I thank you so much for sharing some of those great accomplishments. Finding that many beds is insane. The fact that we need more is a little overwhelming, but we will get there, Aziz. I know we will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And one partner that I know it would have been a lot bigger challenge if we did not have in our community is through Teddy. She has been an advocate and supporter of ours. And I'm excited to introduce her, for her to share with us what that partnership has looked like, felt like, and a little bit of the reach that you have with that partnership. Teddy, welcome.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to have an opportunity to say thank you to you. you have been unbelievably kind and compassionate in sharing what you have with these refugees. I began as a volunteer for LCS in August of 2019. At the time, we were receiving about 3 to 5 refugee families a week up north as well as down south. And they were not like they are right now. They weren't going and living with their families. They were going directly to an apartment, an empty apartment. And so I got involved in this first as an assignment from my church, just to find out about this humanitarian situation, and obviously getting brought into it because there was obviously a need. My friend would go and get her truck full of furniture, and I would work to get enough together to put the kits together, the 5 kits together. And somehow we had enough for each family as they came. We decided to divide our duties, and I took care of the kits and she took care of the furniture, and that's kind of the way it's remained. She has gone on to do other things, and I have stayed with the kits. I managed the donations basically from Shoreline all the way up to the Canadian border. I work with people to acquire those donations, and also I distribute the kits. So I get to meet all the refugees. I'm just like one of the luckiest people around. The kits and the bedding are just the tangible part of what we do. And it's such a little tiny piece of what LCS does for these refugees. And so it's important that we do this little piece so that these caseworkers can do the part that they need to do, because what they do is so much more important than whether or not they have dishes or a pillow to sleep on. That's something that all of us can do. I have been amazed since August in the outpouring of care and love and donations. Just amazing, all the way from West Seattle to Kirtland to Bellevue to Renton, all the way up to Arlington and Marysville. I mean, we have just had all different kinds of groups, congregations, community groups that have gotten together and have shared and provided these kits. And so we're just grateful for that. We've been using, for those of you who are not aware, but there is a site called justserve.org. And if you go on that site and type in, expand it so that you can get a large area, you will find some ads there that will tell you specifically about the donations for these refugees and when we need things and what specific things we need. And by doing that, we've been able to allow lots of people to participate in creating these kits. I just want to thank you for your support. This is not something I can do. I have been blessed to meet many wonderful people and to have you in my life and to be able to call on you when we need things. And I just thank you for that. Back to you, Carrie.
Teddy, thank you so much. We feel the same. Whenever there's, I keep calling it a big hairy need. Everybody's like, did you email Teddy yet? Have you talked to Teddy? She's a little bit of our miracle worker. So I'm thankful for the communities that are rallying around each of us individually to help with this wild crisis. Again, you've heard it, I think, from each of us that we can't do it alone, and we really can't. So thank you for being with us today, for spending your lunch with us. We've got some time for questions. So we've got some that we've answered Again, if you're new to kind of webinar question and answer forum, some of these we answered in type. So we've had our team back here typing up answers. So some of you may see a typed response to your question. And then we've got a couple that we're going to answer live. So panelists, get ready. This is going to be a little bit like Family Feud, where I'm just going to start asking questions and then somebody can unmute and start answering, which would be great. One question, Daryl, this one might be best for you, question mark. Always guide me if I get off base. But we would love to know the definition of an APA refugee or humanitarian parolee. What are those? What does all that mean? What does it mean?
Yeah, we throw around acronyms and sorry about that. So we've been living with APA for the past 6 months. APA means the Afghan Placement and Assistance Program. So as I typed in, basically that means that it's the program to help our Afghan allies start new lives in the US. So it's the regular resettlement program, but specifically focused on the people coming from Afghanistan.
Perfect. Thank you, Daryl. I know we had a couple of questions about that. Now, this one might be Abdul, Aziz, or Dina. Any update on medical needs or specific medical needs from these clients or opportunities to serve specifically in this area or support these folks in that way?
Yeah, thank you for the question. There is no much specific needs, but since we had from our, I think even Aziz will add something, yeah, we had some clients in Pirate Division, and it was really hard to find affordable housing for him or to get approval for assisted living or adult family home because he cannot live by himself, he cannot work, and at the same time he have to survive. Yeah, Aziz, can you add a little bit more?
So we had one of the client, he was from Sudan, but he came from Egypt. Unfortunately, he was escorted by a doctor, but the doctor left him at the departure area by himself. Imagine a blind, impaired, not impaired actually, he was blind in the departure area. Abdul and I was searching for him at the airport. So fortunately we got him and we put him at the Airbnb. The host family, the USI denied him at all. When we took him to his home, he saw that he is blind, denied him for sure. They said, we even don't know him. So we brought him to the Airbnb and then to the host family. Right now it is in the host family. We are still struggling to put him in a adult assisted family, and that he cannot work, he cannot do cook for himself. He has to be taken care of by some person. That is the biggest, one of the most challenging client I had while I was the case manager. So and he still is, yeah. He needs a lot of medical needs, and our intensive case manager, she is trying her best to connect her with all those intensive needs. And even he tried to, said, I want to kill myself. I want to burn the kitchen and kill myself if you do not provide me, if you don't rent me a house. We at the LCS, we were trying to rent a house for him, but we were not able to leave him alone by himself. Blind, completely blind. He could not even go to the bathroom by himself. So that's why we hesitated to rent an apartment for him and put in an apartment.
But great news, thank you for community support. We found for him hosting family who just volunteered to take care of him without any payment by himself because of kind heart.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Aziz. That's a hard story. That's a hard story to hear. And the realities of the work that our folks are doing on the ground is that these hard stories, they were happening a lot more a couple of months ago. They've eased up a bit, But the truth is that people are coming and that this is hard. This is hard work. This transition from a country that they loved and were happy at staying in is hard. And then finding housing here. I mean, if anybody has moved in the last year, housing is hard. Finding a place to rent is hard. And that is if you are a working US citizen. So there's nothing about this process that is easy. And so hearing those hard stories for me is always important. And I always want to bring them to light because they need to be shared. And so I appreciate that, Aziz. I appreciate the story. And I'm deeply, again, thankful for, guess who? The community. You got it, guys.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. We've had an hour together now. It was a host home that's able to take this man in and hopefully give him that sense of hope and encouragement to just keep on, that we are here, that we are committed to his well-being and to offering him the best that we possibly can here in this new life. Okay, we've got some more questions rolling in. The question and answer spot has popped up. Let's see. There's a couple of things I'm just going to run through because we've got some general or some more specific questions, but I've got some general answers. For groups, congregations, people who are gathering together in more than 3, if you want to engage in some way, the best person for you to get in contact with is Nikolai, and his email address is in the chat. I am going to find it again. Here is Nikolai. I'm going to put it in again. His name is Nikolai. He's fantastic. And he's helping to arrange groups of people for, sponsoring different families, coming around, hosting things at church sites, at group locations, things like that. So if that's on your mind, that's the person to contact. As for donations of in-kind items, you have heard from the person that you need to contact, and that's Aziz. He is the one who's helping to connect the dots of who needs what, where, and when, and what storage we don't have. So he's helping to connect drivers to get items everywhere. And I'm going to add Aziz's email is in the chat as well. Email is best at this time. If you call, a lot of these folks are either with clients or out in the community helping to facilitate or driving from one spot to the other because of medical appointments, or they've got a couch to deliver, or some other random thing. So emails are really the best and most efficient way to communicate at this time. Okay, let's see what else. We've got talks about cell phones, definitely have to be unlocked. Getting them donated is fantastic. Features, as far as like how fancy they need to be, they can be as basic as needed, but having something that's available to connect to Wi-Fi, if somebody were able to check their email on their phone, that could help bridge a little bit of a technology gap that we're having between nothing and a computer. So I'd say maybe a modest smartphone would be like Carrie's ideal. And again, I'm just running through some of these. That one I answered. Amazon. Oh, this is a great question, Roberta. I think that I'm thankful for this. Do you prefer that we purchase items through the Amazon website or through a general donation? And I'm happy to take this one on because this is one of my favorite questions. I want you to give how it feels best in your heart. If that for you is going and picking a color of sheets for a family and you know that that is impactful and feels a different way in your soul, then give us the sheets. Go to the Amazon wish list and get the sheets. But if for you, you're much more like, I just want to give this money and have it serve in any way that these folks need, then feel free, go online or send us a check. We are happy to receive both and are grateful for both, but this is really creating a partnership between the two. So I want you to give in a way that feels really good for you. And for us, we're here to receive it. Our need is big enough that we need both across the board. Okay, that one's this one. Let's see. Are other computers of interest? Yes. Aziz, I don't know that we're specific. Is it Chromebooks only or just like functioning computers that are not from the 90s?
Functioning computer is the best. As long as it's running Windows and browsing on the internet, that's perfect.
Okay,
No matter it's Chromebook, Surface Book, whatever book it is.
excellent. Great. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? We've got like 2
Carrie,
more
I just saw a great question from Roberta Nestus, who is our past CEO before David. She was asking if we have a preference for donating goods through Amazon or general donations.
Oh, yes. And I just talked about that. So we want you donors to give in the way that feels best for your soul. Like I said, however feels good for you is the way that we are happy to receive. Our need is great. And also our need is great, right? So we have this big, huge bucket. We need stuff, we need money, we need support for staff. Like it's a big bucket. And we can fit all kinds of things in that bucket. We can fit checks, cash, we can fit sheets, we can fit beds and mattresses. So really whatever it is, and no gift is too small. So if you have $10 to give, that's really helpful because that's about a blanket. And some of these folks don't have a blanket. So that is really impactful. And if you're able to
Carrie?
give, oh, yes.
Can I say something about the Amazon gift list? If
Of
you
course.
make it a gift and ask for a gift receipt, then when we receive it, we can send you a little message that said, I received it. Thank you so much. And that way you will know that it was actually received and not picked up from someone's porch or whatever. You can know that your gift was actually received and is going to be used.
Correct. And the Amazon wish list is nice. I can get you an in-kind donation receipt from that. Aziz and I have worked out a pretty great system. And then we've got, let's see, it looks like one donor has a number of things they would like to drop off. Aziz, would you like to take that?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you
So,
want me to write the address?
yeah, you can throw the address in there. And so, oh, and I lost the question, but for you who were looking at donating and dropping off some things, it looked like there was maybe a downsize happening. Aziz is going to send over the address right now. Oh, perfect. Actually, I'm going to send it. There we go. Here it comes. This is our I Street address, and it is a church facility. So if you personally drive up there and are like, I think I'm lost, you are not lost. We do have a small couple of offices in a church space next to Wright Park in Tacoma. And if a drop-off doesn't work, then Aziz is your contact to get it set up for a truck driver to come up and pick up the items that you have. Okay, I'm so sorry. I got completely wrapped up because these questions were good and they just keep pouring in. You all are so wonderful. I am deeply thankful for you spending your lunch hour with us, for being invested enough in this cause, in this crisis, in these folks, to spend time with us, to learn more, to be actively participating in building our community into this amazing, beautiful place where all are welcome. We are thankful for you, for your partnership, and for your commitment to our community. If you're new to LCSNW, welcome. We're glad to have you here. And if you're an old hat, thank you for helping to make this happen. We're so grateful to be able to be here, to receive these refugees, to have this amazing staff, to help resettle these folks in our amazing community. If you have additional feedback, questions, anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. My email is once mistyped in the chat. Sorry, my speedy hands, but my email is kayoung@lcsnw. Any feedback, please send it my way, or general questions. I'm happy to farm out emails to whoever you might need to get in contact with. Thank you for spending your lunch with us. And we've got 6 more lunch and learns coming up. So stay tuned, register for the ones that appeal to you. And to all of our panelists, thank you, thank you, thank you. Deeply
Thank you.
appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much.
rest of your day,
Thank you all.
everybody.